everyone, before the video starts, I just wanted to give a quick update and to kind of tell you my reasons why there haven't been any Sims videos or theory videos in the last few weeks. So a few weeks ago, I ended up injuring my foot and I was having a really hard time getting around my house, and I have a tiny desk area with no areas to kind of support my foot, and I couldn't do it just sitting there for hours on end with that injured foot. I do have pictures. It's gross and I don't even want to see it on my own body, so we're just gonna leave that one for myself. And after that, we did have a network issue. I live in a really small city in the country, which means that the internet sucks already, and when it goes down, I have absolutely no internet access. So it has been almost 2 weeks. I haven't been able to post anything, but now I'm hoping to get back to my normal schedule and get everything back to normal on this channel. So I just wanted to give a little update on everything going on that's delayed my videos. I thank everyone for understanding. I do have a video that is ready for next Thursday as well, and it's one of my most in-depth theories yet. So please keep your eyes out for that. And with that, let's go ahead and get into this week's video. So, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to take a look into the Sims 4 base game. I will be doing an in-depth review on gameplay, create a sim items, and build by items. This is hopefully going to be the first in a series of pack reviews, so please let me know if you enjoy this by liking the video, and with that, let's check out the Sims 4 base game. The Sims 4 has come a long way since its release in 2014. That release didn't have toddlers, platforms, hot tubs, and a lot of other items that us simmers sometimes take for granted. With all the new updates in the game, the base game, in my opinion, is very enjoyable on its own. You can make a decent looking sim, decorate a decent amount, and did you know there's a card table in the base game? I honestly thought that they were only in Get Together. Let's take a closer look at some of the features. I made this sim with only base game items. She has a bit of a hipster vibe, and it works with a lot of creative sim items that we have. Those skinny jeans are my favorite jeans to put on my sims, and I adore those boots. Makeup has a ton of options. In fact, most of the makeup that my sims wear is either custom content or straight from the base game. One big thing to note though is the MAC collaboration a few years back. Some of the makeup items are, shall we say, a bit much for the sims to wear every day. Honestly, how many of your sims wear a yellow or blue lipstick in your game? I can maybe think of 3 sims I've made in the last 5 years playing, and none of them have worn that eyeliner. You know what I'm talking about. The stuff kind of looks like something you'd see on RuPaul's Drag Race, and it might be something that Makeup Boy would promote from the Proud Family Louder and Prouder. But there are a few MAC makeup choices that I do like to use for formal makeup. For example, the more tame eyeshadow palettes and the shiny lips. The hair in The Sims 4 has a lot of updates. Quite a few hair items from other packs got put in the base game, like a couple of the Spa Day hairstyles. I particularly love some of the braided ones from Spa Day being in base game because I do feel we didn't have a lot of braids in the game. For guys, I feel as though they're always left out. I personally either make goth guys or nerdy boys, which you can still do pretty well in the base game, so no complaints really. As for kids and toddlers, I do feel like the base game gives the bare minimum and most of the basic outfits. Unless you have toddler stuff, toddlers are very watered down as far as entertainment, decor, and care items as well. Very little variety when it comes to toddlers. Speaking of variety, I was surprised how little couches are actually in base game. I completely forgot how much build mode was enhanced with my packs. And it was also hard because when I filtered base game only, I still had custom content showing, and you have no idea how tempting it was to add my custom content to this house. But nevertheless, I still made a completely base game only house. Let's go ahead and explore it to get an idea of building in the base game. Refrigerators are a bit limited in the base game. Art, however, is pretty easy to find and to match to give a simple look. And there are candles in the base game as well, so you can continue your scented candle obsession in The Sims if you want. Televisions are a bit limited without packs, but I typically use the flat screen TV in most of my homes anyway, so I wasn't affected when building in the base game only house. Computers are a different story. I usually try to use laptops when I can for that touch of modern that a lot of the Sims houses sometimes need, and the desktop that I do use is from City Living. And typically for a more vintage look, I use the Cottage Living typewriter. But in base game, I don't have that option, unfortunately. I did find a nice one, but it does look a little bit more outdated than the ones that I use in my homes typically. It kind of looks like a computer I used when my age was still in the single digits. Let's go ahead and take a look back into the kitchen. And yes, I did a blue kitchen. I'm personally a fan of the black and white, but I wanted to build something out of my comfort zone to see if I could do it, and better yet, do it in base game, and I think I passed. Like I said earlier, the refrigerators that I like are from Parenthood or Cottage Living, and I've been using the Dream Home Decorator stovetop since I bought the pack. The stoves are seriously lacking in variety in the base game, as I said earlier about fridges. And it was strange to not have a bunch of appliances to choose from, like ice cream makers and drink trays. You basically only have microwaves and coffee makers. Sinks I didn't have too big of a deal with because I do use the same type of sink in almost all my kitchens. It wasn't until building a base game only house that I realized how often I actually use base game counters and how often I use other packs' cabinets. Cabinets are super limited in the base game, but not impossible to work with. And for most of the clutter, I already used it in base game, so I do love the clutter. Dining tables. I had such a hard time finding a nice dining table that would match the aesthetic I was going for, let alone matching chairs when I finally figured it out. I didn't realize how much of the cats and dogs pack that I used when I was trying to find a good table and chairs. I still found one that would work, but I could have found one a lot more easier that worked if I had my packs. Overall, a good living room and a good kitchen, pretty easy to make in the Sims 4 base game, especially if you only have base game and didn't have all the packs to reference when building the base game only house. Time to talk curtains. I hate base game curtains. I typically don't put curtains in my home because I like the natural light in my game, but I don't like any of the base game curtains. I typically use cute beaded ones from Paranormal Stuffs or the separate curtains from Vintage Glamour, and those curtains I can place individually that I use in the bedroom have a very limited color palette, and none really match the vibe I was trying to give, and I hate the curtains that I originally settled on in the bathroom. I ended up just placing the window higher and adding that little bath product holder because none of the curtains looked good in the bathroom. None. Now let's move to the bedroom. I'm really not that upset with the bedroom aside from the curtains. I tried really hard to make a fairly simple bedroom like you would see in the base game builds that are pre-made. The side tables weren't as limited as I was worried about, and we still have ottomans so I could place one in front of the bed. I think I picked a nice dresser and a mirror to complement it. I was really trying to make a bedroom specifically for the bed and not a lot of other stuff, and I think I did pretty well overall. And I do hope that this part of my review shows that you can make at least a pretty decent base game home. Now let's go ahead and talk about the gameplay in The Sims base game. Most of The Sims gameplay I use is base game. Aside from the fact that there are no occults and a few careers are unavailable, it's really not that bad. I typically make my Sims freelance anyway, so painting, woodworking, or writing are all still options in the game. We still have bars, nightclubs, and libraries in base game so we can mingle with townies, and I honestly enjoyed gardening more before I got seasons, because it's a little bit of a pain to remember what foods grow which seasons, like for my Johnny Appleseed challenge. Apple trees only grow in the fall, and it's really hard to finish this challenge quickly because of that. When I first got The Sims 4, I got it with a cats and dogs bundle, so I've always had at least one pack to use in the game. But if you have never had packs in the game, The Sims 4 base game is really great to start off. If you're thinking of playing The Sims 4 for the first time but don't have the money for packs right now, start off with base game. You'll get plenty of content with it. And if you really need to spice it up, custom content and mods are always a good way to do it without spending money. During the series, I'm going to be rating each pack on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being perfect and the best, and the 1 being that I rarely or never use the pack. For the Sims 4 base game, I'm going to give it a solid 4. You get plenty of gameplay with the pack, and the build and create sim items have gotten more updated as time goes on, which really helps enjoying the game way more when it first started. That was my review for the Sims 4 base game. If you want to see me review any specific packs, let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye!